Have you ever felt that justice was out of reach? That despite your best efforts, the scales didn't tip in favor of what was right? Imagine being caught in a legal system where the odds are stacked against you, where truth seems to be overshadowed by louder voices with ulterior motives. It's a scenario that resonates across centuries, a timeless struggle between human imperfection and the pursuit of fairness. As we grapple with such injustices in our own lives, it begs the question of where divine sovereignty fits into the chaos of human affairs. Today we delve deep into one of history's most profound legal encounters, the trial of Jesus before Pilate, revealing layers of meaning that speak directly to our contemporary struggles with injustice. In the modern justice system, shocking statistics abound, with an unsettling number of wrongful convictions casting long shadows over what many believe to be a fair judicial process. But this is not a new phenomenon. Over 2,000 years ago, a man stood before an earthly authority, bound by accusations and facing an assembly eager for a verdict. This man was Jesus, and many view his trial as the epitome of miscarried justice, a stark reminder that even the innocent can be sentenced when power, politics, and prejudice collide. As we explore this poignant chapter of biblical history, we're challenged to understand its significance in our time, a journey into the interplay between human injustice and divine sovereignty that continues to shape our spiritual and moral landscape. In a world where headlines frequently scream injustice and where people cry out for someone to listen, consider the ancient streets of Jerusalem, where another tale of wrongful accusation unfolded. Within those stone walls, a man named Jesus, known for preaching love and performing miracles, was suddenly entangled in a mesh of political games and religious fervor. As we peel back the layers of history, we find Pilate, a Roman governor, placed at the center of this predicament. Faced with a crowd's clamor and the silent resolve of an innocent man, Pilate was thrust into a role that would be remembered for millennia. Imagine for a moment being in Pilate's position, caught between the hammer and anvil of public outcry and personal conviction. The gospel accounts paint a vivid picture of his internal struggle, as if he sensed the weight of the moment, yet felt powerless to alter its course. It's a sensation not unfamiliar to many today, knowing what's right but feeling restricted by the repercussions that may follow. Now, transpose this image onto our contemporary canvas, a time when reputations can be shattered by the click of a button, when social media acts as both judge and jury. How often have we seen individuals or groups pressured into decisions, not by evidence or ethics, but by the cacophony of public opinion? The trial of Jesus serves as a mirror, reflecting the ways in which truth can still be eclipsed by the shadows of influence and intimidation. Let's consider the times we've encountered this ourselves. A situation at work where conforming seemed easier than contesting, or a moment within our community where speaking truth invited isolation rather than applause. Take a moment to ponder these parallels. They are the very bridges that connect our daily lives to the profound lessons encapsulated in those ancient texts. Through this story, we're beckoned to examine not only the character of Pilate, but also the steadfastness of Christ. In Jesus' silence and his responses, we find a model of composure under fire. A composure that is deeply rooted in the knowledge of a higher purpose and an unwavering trust in divine sovereignty. This is where our journey begins, with the recognition that though the surface of our experiences may differ, the underlying currents of human nature and divine providence continue to interweave, guiding us towards a deeper understanding of our place within both the grand narrative of history and the intimate details of our personal stories. Imagine the scene. A man stands alone, accused, with the world against him. This is not just the story of Jesus. It's a narrative that unfolds daily in courtrooms and public forums around the globe. Today, we take you beyond the ancient texts to a testimony from James, a modern-day scholar who has seen his fair share of the justice system's failings. James dives into the heartache of those wrongfully convicted, echoing the sentiment that Pilate must have felt. The gnawing uncertainty when human law seems devoid of its fundamental purpose, justice. Pilate faced Jesus, an embodiment of innocence, and like many leaders today, was swayed not by evidence, but by the fervent cries of the multitude. In our own age, Powerful individuals and institutions are often moved by public pressure or political expediency, disregarding the quiet voice of truth that speaks in contrary tones to the uproar of the crowd. As James recounts stories of the falsely accused who maintain their integrity in the shadow of looming punishment, he challenges us to see Pilate's predicament mirrored in our current affairs. Now consider the quandaries we face in positions of responsibility, where the line between right and wrong blurs under the scrutiny of public opinion. How do we hold fast to our principles when the world demands otherwise? Reflect on Pilate's choice, his inner tumult encapsulated in the question to Jesus, "What is truth?" Despite the clamor for conviction, Pilate admitted, "I find no basis for a charge against him." Yet, he handed Jesus over to be crucified, a stark reminder of the cost that sometimes comes with standing firm. At this point, we're urged to compare these moments with our own experiences. When have we faced the Pilate dilemma? When has doing what's right meant standing alone? This examination isn't meant just as historical reflection, but as a soul-searching journey that asks us to consider the price of integrity amidst the trials we face today. In the face of injustice, we often find ourselves grappling with the concept of personal sovereignty and the choices it entails. Faced with adversity or the wrongdoing of others, how do we stand firm in our convictions? How do we maintain faith when the scales of justice seem unbalanced in our own lives or in the world around us? It's a struggle that resonates deeply, echoing across time from the judgment halls of ancient Jerusalem to the courtrooms and offices of today. Within this segment, reflect upon your own moments of trial. Think back to a time when you were called upon to make a decision that could compromise your principles. Consider the strength it takes to uphold truth and righteousness when faced with the roaring voices of a society that may push toward an easier but less honorable path. As we ponder these things, think about the role that faith has played during these testing times. How has your belief system provided a foundation for action when faced with moral dilemmas? How have biblical teachings guided you through the murky waters of ethical uncertainty? We invite our viewers to engage directly with these questions. Have you experienced such a moment? How did you respond? Did you feel the weight of Pilate's indecision, the burden of sovereignty upon your shoulders? Share your stories with us, contribute to the conversation in the comments below, and join a community of seekers who find solace and strength in shared experiences. Through these collective reflections, we can begin to understand the intersection of human choice and divine guidance, drawing closer to the heart of what it means to live out our faith amid the trials of modern life. As we reflect on the trial before Pilate, we encounter the raw intersection of human injustice and divine sovereignty. The scene is one of great paradox: a righteous man condemned by a flawed legal system, a governor swayed by a crowd's clamor for blood. This episode in history forces us to consider the difficult reality that sometimes, despite innocence and truth, justice seems to fail us. Yet, in this apparent miscarriage of justice, we discern a deeper thread of divine purpose woven into the fabric of what we perceive as chaos. In understanding the ordeal Christ faced, we approach the complex dance of free will and predestination. Here, Christ stands before Pilate, a silent figure of peace amidst the accusations and turmoil. This image serves as a powerful model for us when we face our own trials. It is in these trying moments that we are called to look beyond the immediate struggle, to see our circumstances through the lens of faith, recognizing the greater narrative at play. The story of Jesus teaches us that even in the depths of suffering and apparent defeat, there can be a divine strategy moving us towards a greater end. Visualize now the serene countenance of Christ, juxtaposed with the agitated faces of his accusers. Picture Pilate, a man caught in the web of political intrigue and public opinion, his hand forced by the very people he governs. As followers of Christ, we too may find ourselves in the midst of trials where the crowd demands one thing and our consciences another. The way of the cross, the path of Christ, however, calls us to faithfulness, even when it leads to personal sacrifice or disadvantage. Within our modern context, this is an invitation to trust in God's sovereignty, in His ultimate plan for justice, and in His timing. It is a call to remain steadfast, to endure wrongs with a spirit of grace, knowing that our present sufferings are part of a larger tapestry that only God fully understands. We are reminded that the ultimate victory has already been won, and that through our trials, character is forged, faith is deepened, and our testimony becomes stronger. As we look upon our world today, fraught with injustice and pain, we can draw strength from the trial before Pilate. Let us, like Christ, navigate our tribulations with grace, anchored in the knowledge that there is purpose in the suffering, and let us emerge not embittered, but emboldened to live out our calling with conviction, full of hope that in God's kingdom, justice will have the last word. In our journey today, we've navigated through the murky waters of injustice and have looked to the divine sovereignty displayed in the trial before Pilate as our compass. What we uncovered is a profound truth, that in the face of the greatest adversity, there remains a steadfast hope and unwavering trust in the overarching purpose of God's will. We leave you now with this call to reflection. Consider how your own trials might be part of a larger divine narrative. Know that your story does not end with suffering, but is continually being woven into the grand tapestry of redemption and grace that spans millennia. From the quiet strength of Christ, we draw courage. From his unspoken trust in the Father, we learn resilience, and in his ultimate sacrifice, we find our redemption. Join us in this ongoing conversation by sharing your thoughts on how you find strength during times of trial. How do you reconcile the moments when justice seems to falter with the belief in an all-sovereign God? We invite you to comment below, subscribe to our channel for more soul-stirring reflections, and share this message of hope and sovereignty with those who need it most. For those seeking to delve even further into the rich lessons of faith we discuss, consider joining our upcoming live Q&A or participating in an intimate online group discussion. These spaces are designed to deepen our collective understanding and support each other in our spiritual journeys. Together, let us continue to illuminate the path ahead with the enduring light of ancient wisdom and divine truth.